Is it okay for the state, for judges, to decree that a person should lose their life because of a crime that they've committed? What does the Bible have to say about this? Genesis 9:6. Whoever sheds humans' blood, by humans shall their blood be shed. For in the image of God has God made mankind. We're in Exodus 20 right now, and when we finish the Ten Commandments, we're going to go into Exodus 21, which is a whole detailing of statutes, of situations. It continues on in chapter 22 and 23 of all these if-then-that scenarios. If this happens, then do this. So Exodus 21, verse 12. Anyone who strikes a person with a fatal blow is to be put to death. Verse 14, but if anyone schemes and kills someone deliberately, that person is to be taken from my altar and put to death. And clearly, this is establishing that if you do certain things, you should have your life taken from you. Verse 22, if people are fighting and hit a pregnant woman, and she gives birth prematurely, but there is no serious injury, the offender must be fined whatever the woman's husband demands and the court allows. Verse 23, but if there is serious injury, you are to take life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, and bruise for bruise. Do you catch this? If two people are fighting, and in the process, a pregnant woman is hit, the repercussions for what happens to that baby is a life for a life. So if that baby dies in this situation, the person that caused that harm to the woman also will die as capital punishment for their crime. Clearly, the Bible does condone capital punishment. Continuing on, there's three more verses condoning capital punishment. There's more, but these are just the three that I'm going to read. Leviticus 20, verse 2. Any Israelite or any foreigner residing in Israel who sacrifices any of his children to Moloch is to be put to death. We spoke about this in the second commandment and the first commandment. Have no other gods. Speaking of Moloch, have no idols. And one of the things that was a practice of the Canaanites was to sacrifice children to Moloch. They would be thrown in the fires or put onto a burning statue and tortured to death. And God doesn't like that. Leviticus 20, verse 2, any Israelite or foreigner residing in Israel who sacrifices any of his children to Moloch is to be put to death. Deuteronomy 17:6. On the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses, a person is to be put to death, but no one is put to death on the testimony of only 1 witness. So now we're getting very specifics of criminal cases. You need 2 witnesses. If there are 2 witnesses, then and a person is guilty by those 2 witnesses, then they are to be put to death. But you are not to administer capital punishment if there is only 1 witness claiming that the person is guilty of that crime. You need at least 2. But yet, Exodus 22:2, if a thief is caught breaking in at night and is struck a fatal blow, the defender is not guilty of bloodshed. So that's a situation where a person is killed. It's not capital punishment, but it is a situation where a person's life is ended by somebody else because that person broke into their home and the person was defending themselves. So there are instances in which taking someone's life is acceptable, and capital punishment is one of them that's in there. Also defending yourself, defending your home.